launched 45 of her planes, while 22 other aircraft were being fueled on Franklin's hangar deck. Mitcher's task force had edged closer to Kyushu so that its squadrons of Hellcats, Corsairs, and Wildcats could more easily strike the enemy warships, berthed beyond Kyushu at Kobe and Kure. Franklin's radar screens were free of bogeys at 7 a.m. when Captain Gares scaled back her readiness level from General Quarters to Condition 3, allowing his men to go to the mess hall for their first hot meal in 3 days. Within minutes, hundreds of hungry sailors were queued up on the hangar deck for breakfast, waiting to descend the ladder to the galley one deck below. March 19th was the 19th birthday of Eldon Rogers, a sailor who worked on the hangar deck. In a letter that he had written home 3 days earlier, he lamented his recent failure at Pearl Harbor to reconnect with friends. "I guess luck can't be with me always," he wrote. "So long for now. Don't be worrying about me. Things are peaceful out here now." At 7:08 a.m., without any warning, a dive bomber displaying the rising sun meatball insignia flashed out of the base of a low cloud 1,000 yards ahead of Franklin and made a mast-level bombing run. In the blink of an eye, it released 2 550-pound bombs and escaped before gunners could find its range. Both bombs crashed through the flight deck, exploding nearly simultaneously in the hangar space below. Fed by fuel vapor, a chain of explosions roared through the armed Avengers, Corsairs, and Hellcats on the hangar deck, rocking the ship. Idling Corsairs burst into flame, and their whirling propellers slashed adjacent planes and men. All but 2 of the more than 500 men in the hangar deck area, crewmen either standing in line for breakfast or servicing planes, were instantly incinerated, among them Eldon Rogers. "I saw guys flying through the air from the explosions," said Seaman First Class Ralph Packard, who was on the nearby destroyer Hunt. "I saw men running around on fire, just flaming torches." Electrician mate Al Cole watched sailors jump off the flight deck into the sea, drowning right and left. On Franklin's flight deck, Seaman Second Class George Sipple grabbed the arm of a man running in terror toward him, hollering and screaming, and the man's arm came off in Sipple's hand. It was just like a turkey leg, he said. It was cooked right through. Horrified, Sipple threw the arm overboard. The hangar deck was just a mass of orange and white flames, said aviation machinist's mate Glenn Davis. The ship burned so fiercely that steam rose from Franklin's wake. Radio man George Black was shocked by what he saw when he reached the hangar deck. There were several hundred bodies, he said. None of them were wearing clothing. It was just arms, legs, hands, heads, and what have you. Firefighters groped through the choking smoke to play the fire hoses on the flames as pitch bubbled between the flight deck's planks. Meanwhile, the high-pitched shriek of streaking 1,200-pound, 11 3/4-inch Tiny Tim rockets that had been mounted on the wings of the burning planes added a dimension of terror to a scene of nearly indescribable carnage. The rockets flashed by in great orange streaks a few feet over our heads, wrote a Marine lieutenant. Franklin's executive officer, Commander Joe Taylor, described it as one of the most awful spectacles a human has ever been privileged to see. Franklin lost power, and her forward momentum slowed until she was dead in the water. The new chaplain, Father O'Callaghan, a 39-year-old Irish Catholic priest from Boston's Roxbury district, had taught physics at Boston College and Holy Cross before becoming the first Jesuit to become a Navy chaplain. He was aboard the carrier Ranger during the North Africa landings in October 1942. Upon awakening March 19th, he remembered that it was the feast of St. Joseph, his namesake and the patron saint of a happy death. A short time later, as he was eating breakfast in the officer's wardroom, he heard a loud bang and the sound of breaking glass. The officers dove under the table. O'Callaghan told himself, "This is it." In the inky blackness that engulfed Franklin's lower decks with her power gone, the priest groped along a fire-blackened passageway to the junior aviator's bunkroom, where corpsmen were treating injured pilots. O'Callaghan administered viaticum, or last rites, to the dying. Some of them perished in his arms. Then he led a group of men single file up a ladder to the flight deck, now a scarred slab covered with burned